What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Outside the Clutch, episode 26. Tonight, we're doing something a little bit special. I'm continuing our El Paso Breeders series. So one of the things I want to do, because we all come together in a group and we work together, we kind of help each other with projects and whatever craziness we're kind of coming up with in the community. This is my way of giving back to everyone, right? So we're going to be going through all the El Paso breeders one by one, probably one, potentially two a month until we get through everybody. That way you guys can see all the amazing people that I work with, and hopefully we'll start doing some more collaborations and stuff like that with them. Get people like this that need to do more on his social media, start doing more. I mean, he's outdoing me on like breeding and stuff, but I think I got the social media on him so far.
Just got to work on that. I got to work on that.
So I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. Couldn't do what we do without our sponsors. VivTech Products. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, you're freaking slacking. They've been around for about a year now. Ryan and Erica McVeigh do amazing things. They're trying to innovate this industry and really make us all take our husbandry to the next level. So if you're looking for snake bags, you're looking for sensors to monitor the humidity and temperature, you're looking for UVB bulbs for your animals that need UVB and UVA, all of that stuff and more coming soon is going to be at VivTech Products. So if you go to vivtechproducts.com and use code FCLUTCH0322, you get 15% off site-wide. Our second sponsor is REPTIchip. I've been a huge fan of REPTIchip. I don't know, what's it been, like 5 years? I think I've been with REPTIchip since the start of my dive back into reptiles. And man, it's the best substrate. Like, we have people that use other stuff, not naming any names.
Yeah, I've used them.
We're going to convert them. We're going to convert them. That's what I'm saying. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can get 2 breeder blocks for 10% off if you use Feely Chippin on reptichip.com. Or if you're local to El Paso, you can come see me as the representative or the local distributor. So our final one is one that really excites me. Like, they're doing some really cool shows and they work extremely hard. We got the pleasure of vending one of their shows here locally recently, and that's Show Me Snake shows. Mickey and his wife put on probably about 2 to 3 shows a weekend. I'm really looking forward to running around and getting out to more of those shows, getting to meet you all and see faces and kiss babies and all that good stuff. But like I said, we couldn't do what we do here without our sponsors. So huge thank you to them. Huge thank you to everyone in the chat. We're going to give a quick shout out to
nice shirt.
Roth's Reptiles or Roth Farms or Roth's Frogs or however you want to say it. My man dared me to do this to Pedro tonight.
I told him I should have came and wore him the shirt as well, but just take
like,
it off in the middle of the podcast.
Through it. Go shirtless the rest of it. No. So without further ado, you guys saw the thumbnail. This is my boy Pedro Santana.
Good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. We've known each other. What is it, like 6-7 years now?
Yeah, I mean, we were still both in the military, and I was taking a guy to behavioral health, and you were there as well. Actually, just talking to him about your YouTube channel. I'm like, hey, and he was talking about snakes. And I'm like, wow, no way, another breeder here. So I just started talking to him. I was like, yeah, I got his information. And it turns out you live, like 3 minutes away from me the whole time.
And you're still late, bro. You're still late.
Still late. Hey, okay. Technically, that was before the time that we're going live, though.
You said 6:30. I'm just
okay.
But no, so like we met through the Army. We were both NCOs dealing with troubled soldiers at the time, and which is kind of something I'm gonna jump into. One of the things I'm doing, I'm actually I'm gonna try to take a stab at writing a book, which is kind of scary, but it's gonna be talking about transitioning from military life back to civilian, because a lot of us don't have the easiest transition. I remember like when you first got out, we were talking about it.
Yeah,
You had a lot of issues when you first got out. When I got out, everything crashed for me, bro.
Yeah,
and
man.
I remember
I was in the
that.
middle of a divorce. It was
Yeah,
just like all this stuff.
So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Hopefully it works out. I mean, it's going to be the first book, so it might be really bad.
You got it, man. You got it.
We'll see how it goes when the time comes. But let's jump into you, man. Like, what's the story with snakes? What got you into reptiles in general?
So reptiles and man, just probably when I was about 7 years old, I was actually in Puerto Rico with my cousins, and there's, I'm sure you guys know there's wild iguanas, just like in Florida, wild iguanas outside. So when my cousin's boyfriend at the time, she actually brought in an iguana, and I saw it, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing. At that, before that, I'd never really been into reptiles, but at that time, I took the iguana. I actually ended up bringing it back to Chicago at the time. So, and that's pretty much how it all started. A couple turtles, like a couple iguanas, and then snakes was a little further down. I would say about a year or two before I got out of the military. I just actually stumbled upon Miguel, always loving pythons, off of YouTube, and I thought he had only like 200 subscribers at the time, and I'm just like, man, it's so cool how like snakes have all these morphs. Like I'm only really familiar with iguanas, which had at that time maybe albino and a couple of the blue one, the red one, and I just had no idea that reptiles could have so many different like colors and morphs. So I really got into it at that moment. I ended up buying 2 breeder females from Miguel back in 2016, 2017, and then just started from there.
And you took that and you kind of went all in with it right away, which is crazy. Like you went all the way out to Daytona for a show.
Exactly.
When you first
Actually,
started.
that's where I got my first one. So
really,
my first female, it was a queen bee, and I'm surprised you remember that, was in the Daytona Reptile Expo, and I bought it. I was still in the military at the time. I bought it, drove it back 24 hours, and in the little tub. I had no idea about snakes. It's my first snake ever. And then that season, I actually got eggs off of it. I ended up buying an Orange Dream male. So first 2 snakes, male and female adults, and I just went all into it.
You just got lucky and got all it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. That's crazy, man. And then you said you went from that, and those were both from Miguel?
No. The Miguel was later on. Oh. That was later on. So these were the first ones, and then from there, that's when I stumbled upon his channel, and then ended up buying from him.
All right, so. Nice, man. And now you've taken it from 2 snakes to 4 snakes to what are you at now?
So right now, my numbers are probably at like 130 to 140.
That's big, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But still, I'm thinking about maybe like three more clutches this season, but I'd like to stay under 100. I don't like to go too far up there. I still have about like 50 hatchlings to sell, so that put me under like 100. I'm slacking, man. I just got to post more, take more pictures, and post more.
I feel you on that.
People are not going to buy from you if they don't know what you have.
I got like 3 clutches.
Yeah, that's market, I mean, full-time job. Like it gets busy, man.
Nice. So you're at 130. Did you think it was going to become what it is right away, or was this something like, oh, I want to test the waters?
That's exactly what it was. So initially, I would like my second, third year in, I would probably be like, I want to stay under 60. Like I don't want to go under 6. But then as you get into it and you see like what's possible, like it's hard to stay under that, man. You get more breeders, you start holding stuff back, and it's just really hard to stay under that. You want to have a little bit of everything, you know.
And what would you say, like if you had? So I put clown and DG because I know that's 2 of the projects you're really
those
really
are
passionate
like my favorites. Like that's right up there, man.
But what would you say your focus for your collection is right now?
I would say as far as like clown, DG, pie, like a lot of my projects are focused towards that, and that's what I'm setting towards the future, because I feel like, I mean, that's what I enjoy, and that's what keeps you interested, and also that's what the market's looking for. So a little bit of everything.
With you being in for like, what's it been, like 7 years?
Yeah, end of 2016, 2017. So yeah,
like 6 years. With you being in that long, do you think that you you've kind of got a good reading on what the market wants, or have you even been looking into starting like your double or triple recessive?
Yeah. I'm actually. So what I like to do is I always reinvest into like a powerhouse male, a really good female. And this season, I actually, because I see that that's what the future is now. So I actually invested in a clown, he's a 5 gene clown, and he's het pied. So he's gonna go towards like my DG females. Once they get the size, I want to put him towards her. Like it's gonna be amazing stuff, man.
Oops. I did it. I used the curse words first.
And I'm surprised I didn't, because usually I
I'm
let
proud
one
of you,
slip.
bro.
Infantry, man, 11 Bravo. Like, hey, it's been a while, so I guess it's finally coming
It's
out.
starting to wear off a
Yeah.
little bit. You're in an office setting now.
Yeah,
You're gonna be
yeah.
professional or something. That's the joy of being your own boss. I just use whatever verbiage I want.
Maybe I can get there soon, man.
You make it, bro. You make it. So with jumping into double recessives, what's like the thing that's caught your eye so far? Because I know there's a lot of double recessive combos where everyone's like, oh, I want to chase this, or I want to chase this, and you have to find a way to make it your own with
Exactly.
everything you're doing. So what do you think Pedro is going to have the biggest impact on?
Well, since I got this clown het pied, I want to work towards that. Like I do, like everyone wants DG clown, like right?
Everyone wants to,
DG clown, but it's more expensive. You know, it's more expensive. It's not that easy. So maybe with what I produce with this, you know, down the line, I can start going towards that, because I'm impatient. I don't like waiting 3 years for hets to grow. Like I want to just get the visual off the bat and increase my chances. So.
And it's hard, man.
It's super hard, man.
I'm gonna play the odds this year, and hopefully I hit it. But
you do have a pairing.
I have chances for DG
oh,
Clown.
Man, if you hit it, I'm hoping for you, man.
Or Clown Pied. Like I have a lot of double. I have a pair, or I have 2 pairings for triple hets this year, and I'm scared crapless to see if those go, bro. But
hey, I'm sure they will, man. Just stay positive.
That's why I had to expand on rats, bro.
Yeah.
Those girls are gonna eat. If nothing else, they're gonna eat well. But yeah, man. So you jumped into it. You're working your double recessives. You really want to touch Clown Pied. What makes Clown Pied the project that you want to go after? Like what do you see that makes it so what you want to do?
It's what initially brought me in. It was like I saw Clown, I saw Pied, and that, like, from the bat, I mean, I think year 2 I was already producing clowns and Pieds. So like right off the bat is what I like. So it was like, now that I'm, you know, a little further on, I feel like, well, let's get into a double. You know, it's what introduced me, it's what I liked. Let's get some doubles into them. Let's work towards the triples and then go from there. So it's what keeps me passionate about it and keeps you interested. If you're not passionate, then eventually you're just going to lose interest, and then the animals will suffer, and nobody wants that. So
100%. I like that. Have you tried to make the kids help you out with it, or what's their stance on the animals,
I tried, and they just don't really care about them. I told them to watch. They're probably watching right now, and they're like, oh, look at them talking crap. But hopefully when they get a little older, I mean, my eldest is 11. My youngest is 8, so maybe I don't want to push it on them. So I want them to come up to me and be like, hey, we're interested. And then once they're interested, I'm going to start showing them and teaching them. And then maybe I can leave all this to them, you know?
Well, what was it like? I know with mine, with the age they are right now, when I go to clean, they're like, oh, I want to hold that snake. I want to hold that snake.
Yeah.
And they want to hold the little snakes while they're getting clean.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do any of the work. Like I'll get them to pour waters or something.
Exactly. And they'll help me with the rats and stuff. And I have about a 6-foot boa constrictor, and they'll grab it, no problem, not scared or anything. But they don't. I have to be like, hey guys, grab this. Like they don't just come and ask me. They don't ask me questions about them. They're not like really interested in them.
Oh yeah, it's a tough thing for us too. Like when we're looking at it, because we really want our kids to share our passions, you know. And it's one of the things my dad really pushed on me. Like my dad's an avid hunter, and I love hunting for the aspect of just getting out and away from everything.
It's
but
peaceful.
I don't.
Like, it's not your thing. It's not your thing.
But my dad really enjoys being out there, and I like the nature, and I like seeing him. And like after a long day, we'll go into the cabin or whatever, take a shot, and Like, it was a good
And
day.
see, those are the memories you
Yeah.
remember. See, that's what I want to create with my kids, share my passion with them. So
Exactly. And it's crazy, man. And I think it's getting harder and harder now that we're getting so driven into doing what we do.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because you have your animals and that's a full-time job, and then you have school and that's a full-time job, and
work full time.
you have work
like,
full-time. Like, luckily I don't have work,
Yeah,
but like between this and animals and school as well,
it's a lot,
Yeah,
man. And I
it's
feel
crazy.
bad sometimes because I feel like I do take my kids. I'm not gonna say I do, but I feel like I can always do more with them, and I want to spend more time with them because they're only gonna be this age once, and when they grow up, do you want to be that dad that were like, oh yeah, my dad, he wasn't really
around. Yeah.
He was there. He gave us everything we needed, but we didn't really bond with him. So
No, I feel that, man. And I think that's what a lot of us are trying to find, because we came from a generation where like the father figures weren't like, they were strictly focused on providing for the family.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
100%. Like my dad, I went to the movies with him once. One time I remember going to the movies with him, and I'm not saying he was a bad dad. He was an amazing dad. He taught me how to be a good father and everything. But like you were saying, he wasn't there to do like stuff that you see fathers do nowadays, I guess. It was more of a, let me go work, I'll come back, sit down on the couch, I'm tired. And then
just
have
give me a little bit, I'll be back.
Yeah. Because like every time in the weekend we would go out to the stores, and it would just be my mom, my brother, my sister. And then my dad would just stay back because he was tired from working all the time.
It happens, man. But I like how you do it. You seem to always be doing something with your kids, and I think it's important. I think when they get a little bit older and they realize this is your passion, it's going to pique their interest more.
Yeah, I think so.
It kind of comes with time, in all honesty. Like, my kids like it, but it's because I do it all by myself. Like, I do the rats by myself, I do the snakes by myself, and if they don't go over there, I am that bad dad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to call myself out on that right now. I'm that bad dad. Like, work is life for me. That's how I get through my days. But so like, if you go, I have a whiteboard right in front of my room. Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is scheduled family time. I'm not allowed to do anything but spend time with family during these hours.
And does that work out, or do you still see yourself?
But
hey, but that's good, man. Yeah, keep yourself on track.
You gotta do what you can. What's your true ambition with this, man? Like, where would you like to see Santana Serpents go?
I mean, my goal, like, long term, would be like to make a full living off this, or at least cover my expenses, so that way, hey, anything else I make extra, I don't have to worry. At least my bills are covered by this, because it's my passion. I feel like a lot of us, that's our dream, right?
100%. I think it's a thing that a lot of people in the industry want to do. They don't necessarily know how to, or they get to that point where it's like, it's gonna make or break for it.
Exactly.
And they get nervous. Or you see something like what's happening right now with the recession.
And I was going to mention,
I was going to
mention that. I was going to mention that too, because it's getting tougher. I've noticed it myself. It's kind of hard to make some of the sales like I used to. You would have to drop prices, even looking across the board on Morph Market.
Well, that's all Paso, bro.
Everything. But even on Morph Market, you look at some of the morphs and they've dropped, even recessive wise, they've dropped like $100, $150.
Sure, bro. It's just, I don't know, man. It's what we deal with, and you're gonna watch it. But one of the people that I listen to a lot, and this is gonna be a name drop, I love Uncle Gary, or Uncle G. I love Gary V and Uncle G, Grant Cardone. And I'll go through an entire month of Grant Cardone podcast, like in one sitting, and not realize that I listen to like 4 or 5 episodes, and each episode's like an hour long. I'm like, oh crap, I need to go spend time with. That's how I know it's time to spend time with the family. Because I'll put podcasts on. I don't even listen to music.
I do the same thing. Like, I didn't know you were that involved into like the financial side of podcasts until I think I actually came to pick up some rats, and then we just started talking, and then you're like, yeah, I'm thinking about real estate, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, man, that's cool, because like it's something I always my thing is I always have multiple sources of income. I don't like to depend on one thing. I honestly don't even really have to have this full-time job, but I feel like it's helping me reinvest into the snakes. It stabilizes me. I know I have this guaranteed salary. I don't have to worry about making a couple extra snake sales or going harder into the stock market. You know, I can just, hey, I got this coming in. This covers my bills. It covers my mortgage. And with whatever else I make, I can reinvest into myself and business, my kids, all that.
Yeah, man. It's so you said you found it a little bit harder with market. What's kind of your preferred avenue for selling? Like, do you like doing the face-to-face with vending? Do you think that's going to be a little bit tougher to do? Do you prefer morph market? Like, if you could choose one way to sell your animals, what would your preferred way be?
Well, I think it's good to have multiple ways, but I would say, like, across the board, more expensive animals, morph market. Lower end animals, in person. 100%.
I feel that. That's what a lot of people believe, man. Like, and that's the way you're bringing a lot of people in, is by, like, they get their hands on that, like, 100, 200, maybe like $500-$600 animal if you're lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they see it in the, like, I don't know how many people looked at a couple of the animals at this last show that I had marked at like $500-$600, and like, oh, that's really pretty. I like that. And I was like, you want to hold it?
No.
You want to hold it? No, I'm good.
You know, I was surprised I actually sold one for $450 to a guy that it was his first snake ever. And I was just like,
I hear it all the time.
But it was, he came up to me after and he told me, he's like, you know what? Like, there were some of these other tables. I won't name anybody, but like they had a lot of people, but he didn't interact. He didn't answer his questions. Like, he kind of blew them off. So then he came to mine, and I literally probably talked to him for 30 minutes. But look, he ended up buying the $450 animal. I even went up to another table with him and helped him pick out the enclosure. I told him, hey, this one's going to be good for it. It's good length. You don't have to worry. She'll be good in this one. And he was happy. So I'm happy.
See, man, that's what it's about. That was the nice thing about having someone at the table with you. Like, you're able to interact and really spend time, and someone can still push the other animals, where it's like, if you're doing it on your own, sometimes it can get a little overwhelming. Like, I know with myself, I get really bad, like, social anxiety. Like, one-on-one is super simple for me, bro. Or like, this is super simple for me, but I get really bad social anxiety.
And you wouldn't tell. Like, I'll look at you speaking on your podcast, and you're like, oh, he's good.
No, you wouldn't think until you see me in person. That's why I wear tank tops at the shows, bro. Like, that sweat's just going. But like, I'd sit there and, like, I got some good sales. Like, I made out from that show really, really well for this dog, man.
He's going crazy over there.
Going nuts.
You got a monkey locked up in there?
Yeah, something like that. You got the APA coming after me or something soon. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, like, we made out really well, especially with the local. And I think that's where you set it up. And that's why I really want to push to those other shows. Like, I want to find the circuits that are close to us and hit those. And, like, you help spread your name out, and which is really important. But they get that one time, that face-to-face time, which I think is what really drives it. That's what social media is, like, really become about for us, is you get to know us, right? So what's been kind of like your focus when you're talking to customers, and, like, your goal with social media? Is it just kind of like a post up and this is what I'm doing right now, like, this is what's going on? Or
I mean, I won't lie, it is kind of that. And I want to make it more, it's good to make it more personal, so you put your face behind the brand. That's why I think this is good, you know, because I haven't really done something like this. So I feel like this is something that's good to help further on, get more people interested in you, see who's the face behind the brand. John went to go take care of his dog over there, so knocking up on the cage. Nice dog, though. Hey, what's up?
Just gonna get it.
This one was one from Gabe, right?
This Gabe's. Yeah. This is one of the babies. She's super shiny now and all playful.
Did you get her big already, or you got her?
Yeah, she was like 16 months, I think. She's a great dog. She's been. Yeah. She can't be out when the kids are eating. Oh, okay. Is the issue, because the kids will just. Well, she tried everything. Yeah, that's
my dog's the same way. I don't like it around when we're eating dinner. So yeah, lock her up.
So she gets locked up. She's cage trained. So That's the only time she gets locked up. Otherwise, it's free. That's why
Oh,
she was
okay.
freaking out. She's like, I hear voices and I want to talk.
Yeah.
I want to be around.
Yeah, she was knocking that cage up.
It was funny as hell. But yeah, man. Like it's funny because you gotta really change your perspective from like what we thought, right? Like in the Army, we're always trying to be not like that social butterfly or like super happy or anything, but you got to have your soldiers respect you and want to help you. You got to have the leadership. So you like, it's more of a professional demeanor and it's not a laid back thing. And you're always like, okay, is this going to hurt me or help me? Which kind of messes with your head. And then you come to this where it's like, okay, you gotta like socially interact with
you know, and that was the thing first. I was like, I wouldn't want to like put my face behind her. I didn't want my picture to get them. Nowadays, who cares, man? Like no one truly cares. Just put yourself out there. Like it's only gonna help you, really.
Dude, I remember when I first started, bro, and I was like,
I'm sure you use it. Yeah,
on CQ, bro.
Now I don't even care. That's awesome.
I gotta stay awake. Talk to me.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, man. So I think it'd be really good. I think you have the ability to go full time if you really want to. I think you're almost there, man. Like if is 130, that's with the hatchlings and stuff, or is that
yeah, that's breeders? With the hatchlings. Okay. But speaking about that, what's crazy is like, I don't know if it's the way I speak about it or they see the passion I have, but I've actually had like quite a few friends of mine invest with me now. I have a coworker that knows nothing about snakes, and just the way that I talk about it, I show him like, yeah, explain to him you can make money off of this, and he's like, you know what? Like, let me buy something with you. So we went together on that. Actually, that clown het pied. Nice. We went in together on that, and I wrote up a nice contract, just not to scare him. I'm not trying to screw him over. And I just said, like, you know, I did it favorable, so that way it's fair, and that way. Who knows? Maybe if it goes well down the line, he can invest in like a 10,000 snake with me or whatever.
How do you feel about breeder ones? Like obviously you're favorable to them.
See, I'll be 100%. I'll be 100% honest with you. 100% honest. I rather invest with someone that doesn't know, has the money but doesn't know about him, than someone that knows. And the only reason is because I don't want to lose a friendship over a breeder loan. Because if you know what's being made, we both know. I mean, let's say a clown pied or a DG clown comes out, only one comes out. How are you gonna split that?
I felt that, bro.
You know how are you gonna split? Like really, it's just like, and I do not want to lose. Like I wouldn't want to lose a good friendship over that. So one of my things is I won't invest with other breeders because of that.
You heard it. So. He's stingy, y'all. He's stingy.
I wouldn't. It's not being stingy.
It's smart.
Yeah, it's just thinking
about me and Mike did the last clutch together, and we were both shooting for the same animal, obviously, and we only got one, so we're like,
see, well, but it's tough, though, right? Yeah. It's tough, right?
So we talked it out after the clutch, and we were like, all right, well, it's gonna go this way, and but we figured it out, and that's the good thing with Mike, though. Is like he's pretty easy to work.
Yeah, no, he's super chill.
When we looked at it, and we are like, as long as because it's a male, so we're like, we'll both
and
work
you can both
male
use it
next
anyway.
year,
So,
and yeah. So I'll throw it to a couple of girls and then hand him over. And
I think locally is not so much an issue, but if you were to work something out, you know, someone across the country,
for sure, bro. Like shipping your animal to someone is
it's this huge
completely different ball game. Yeah. This got me so nervous, bro. Yeah. She's gonna like catch the
you think so?
And just go. Oh man. But yeah, so I think you got the right mindset on it, man. What would you say you're producing right now, like on average, per clutches or like per babies total?
Like number of clutches? Yeah. Right now, I would say anywhere from 15 to 20. Okay. 15 to 20, and then next season will be a little more, 25-ish. I don't think I'll hit 30 because there's always the females that don't go, you know. Right. So I knock it down a little bit. But like breeder size, I have about 20 from last season, and then this coming season I'll have about 10 or so more that'll be hitting size. So
where do you think your line's going to be? So I want to make this very clear before he says this. Everyone's ability to go full time is going to be dependent on, like, obviously the way they live, things like that. Like me and him, we both get disability from the military, so life isn't quite as hard as it could be.
You have that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the back, knowing that, hey, if I don't sell the snake or if I don't make that as
like
much
right now, I could say I'm completely full-time snakes, even though I don't really produce.
Yeah.
But like 5-6 clutches a year, gonna be a lot more hopefully next year. But like at that, I could say I'm full-time because I know my bills are already paid.
Exactly.
But where do you think? What's that line gonna be for you? Or like where?
As far as the top
clutches
number,
or like a monetary type thing, if you want to go into that aspect, where do you think you need to be full time?
Okay.
And what steps are you taking
to
move to?
And I have thought of this. So I would say personally, because of my other, like I said, I don't depend on one thing. So because of my other incomes, I want to hit 50K. So if I can hit 50K off of whatever I produce that year, that's my goal. Then I'll be able to do this full time. You know, replaces my income from work, and then it puts me in a comfortable spot where, hey, with everything else I got coming in, I can live very, very comfortable off of that.
You're doing your own rats, at least to a portion, right?
Right.
Are you to the point where you're able to cover it yourself, or are you still
No,
working?
The thing is, because you have to wait for the rest to grow out, and I have a bunch of hatchlings, they're never able to grow out. So either I buy the babies and let them grow out, or I let them grow out and buy the babies. So that's where I'm at right now. I have to either buy the babies or buy the smalls, mediums. But I'm okay. It's not much. Maybe every other week I have to go buy some. Right. Everything else I can provide myself.
Trolling on everyone. Oh man. What do you think you want to expand beyond what you have as far as rats to make it your thing, or like to be able to sustain yourself fully?
Is that thing
a goal, or is it just like the ease and the time that it takes for rats?
That's the thing, man. It's like, well, you know more than anybody. Like, it's not easy. The rats are. Let me tell you this. I have 3. Let me see. I have 3 racks, 3 5 level, a couple. I think 1 6 level, and then 5 levels of rats. 3 different racks, and those are more time than the snakes. So, yeah, I don't think I want to go to the point where my whole garage is freaking rats. What are you trying to say, bro? Not pointing any fingers over here, but no, like I like where I'm at now. Maybe one more rack of rats. That way I have to buy less, but it's not too much right now, like monetary wise, because I keep myself at that number. You know, I'm not at like 200 plus snakes. So
I mean, you start pushing 30 clutches.
I know that's
real quick.
That's gonna come soon.
That's gonna be.
So that's what I got to think of, like you were saying. Yeah.
Like, I talked to my wife, and I talked to one of my buddies that we're doing a couple of partner projects for double recessives. We talked about that too. That's why I brought that up. It was like, bad if those hit, and people don't get one.
Like it's.
But we talked about it long term. Okay. Like our contract's drawn out over like 5-6 years to work a project.
Okay. I mean? So then, like, maybe down the line, if it happens again, they get it. Okay. Yeah, that's all you have to structure out and write up. Make sure everything's good, because you don't want to lose a good friendship over something like that.
It's one of my dudes too. Like, he's an Army veteran as well. So it's Brandon with Oodles and Noodles, man. Like he's got some really, really nice stuff. A lot of.
Was he on your podcast before?
Yeah,
because I think I remember watching that one.
That's been on twice. He's like the only guy that I've repeated, I think.
Yeah. Damn, special guy.
No, so Kiri was technically on here twice, but one was like a vlog, and then one was a podcast.
I think I remember back and you showed some of his snakes, right? Yeah, I remember that one.
We were at his house. Yeah, man. You said, I'm sorry, the dog distracted me. What did you say? You just said if you can compensate like 50.
50, yeah, 50 is like my
and
number.
That's where you would want to sit. You wouldn't want to.
No, of course not. That's to begin. That's to begin. Like, I mean, dang, like, I want to get to 100K, 100K.
You want to be
bro.
the Puerto Rican Miguel.
Yeah, right. Like, speaking of that, man, I've been having some guys in Central America contact me because speaking Spanish helps, man. And I've been working out a deal with those guys.
So
He's
you
saying
guys
their
were laughing
market,
at me,
their
too.
market's blowing up right now, man. Blowing up.
They got so much going on in Central America right now, and like especially Mexico.
Yeah.
So like I took a couple of years of Spanish, and you guys were making fun of me a couple months ago. Don't think I forgot this. You were. And I was like, y'all better brush up on your Spanish if you know it, or if you don't.
It's huge. It's huge.
And
they just opened up. I saw a Morph market. They just opened Mexico up. So it's a huge market. We're right on the border. Why would we not consider that? You're cutting out sales, you know?
This is the same thing I've been telling everyone else here,
Yeah.
too. I was like, one of you guys need to figure, I don't have the time for it. I just don't.
Right.
But someone needs to figure out how to be a broker and like take over the brokering out of El Paso.
It's huge. I mean, it's there.
It's right there. It's right there. One of the hubs for
and I was going to say, didn't he start a hub
15 minutes away from
Oh, my gosh. And we're over here like nothing, not even doing anything.
Lazy bums. That's it. The El Paso series cut off. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, man. So, what would you say? What would you say was like the biggest obstacle you had to deal with so far in your time?
I wouldn't say so. It goes down to having other sources of income. I wouldn't say I really had an obstacle. I would say if I had to pick something, I would be like marketing yourself and getting yourself out there. It needed, and I wish I would have focused more on it from the beginning, so that way now I'd be more well known. That's like one thing I say I wish I would have focused more on it. I almost knocked over that.
That's what I was talking about.
It's a big dog. So
130 pounds ain't no joke, bro. Oh man. Especially that food bill. It costs more to feed her than it costs me to feed all the rats in the garage.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. So the reason I say obstacle, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you went through something bad. Like everyone has that learning moment, you know, like whether it's hopefully not, like hopefully no one ever has to deal with sickness in there, but like sickness or problem eaters or stuff like that. Like everyone has something that really pulled their focus away in the beginning, you know? So I was trying to see.
Okay. So I'll give you a story on that. So think I was still living on post at the time. I was still in the military. My first year in. So I had invested pretty heavily into some breeder females, and I did quarantine, but I only quarantined for 30 days on one of the males that came in from another breeder. I won't say who. I'm not going to put anyone under. But after the 30 days, I started pairing him. And then I started noticing RIs in some of my females. And then these were, I mean, gosh, at the time, it hit me hard because these were, you know, $500-$600 females that I had bought breeder size. It takes time. I didn't have nearly this many. I didn't have sales under my belt. This is all money going in at this point. And then it was all discouraging because I'm like, oh man, like I quarantined. I thought I did the right thing, but I'm still getting RIs, and I tried the nebulizer with the F10. I tried all that, and then I ended up taking it to the vet. Got it put on antibiotics, and because of that whole fiasco, I lost 2 breeder males. I lost 2 breeder females. Fortunately, I was able to save 2 of them. So it was a nice little group that ended up getting it, and it was all because of that, man. And thank God, ever since I've never had, knock on wood, is this wood over here? That I've never had even another RI since, and I haven't had a sick snake like that since.
That's a scary thing, man. And it's one of the things. It's one of the things you got to worry about nowadays. Is like people don't want to say it when they have it, which like just learn from it.
Yeah.
Be honest, because if you're not,
they try to hide.
You let it out, you're gonna get called out for it.
You start. I mean, if someone gets a snake that they got from you and it's sick, that's the end of your career.
And from us, yeah. Well,
yeah, that's it.
yeah, like for us in El Paso, if anything happens to any of our collections, everyone knows instantly.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, I got a snake from this person, and it was
they're
it
out.
was sick.
They're out. I will only
don't pull that back into El Paso, bro.
Well, one of my rules is I only like to bring in maybe 2 or 3 snakes a year. At this point where I'm able to sustain myself is what I hatch out. And because you always run that risk. You know, what do they have now? The Nido. Like you don't want you bring in Nido, your collection's done. So
Nido,
you got to take
IBD,
all that into consideration.
There's so many, man. It's not, but it's the way a lot of people keep too. Like a lot of people are lazy about it when they first start out, and that's one of the things that I had an issue with when I first started. Right, was like it wasn't that I was lazy, but like to sell to people, because I haven't sold a lot, but I've been selling for a couple of years where it's just like, okay, I don't need this anymore. I'll get rid of that.
Right.
Get rid of that. Like I'm finally producing at a scale where okay, I'll keep 1 or 2 back, and then everything else needs to go. But a lot of people are kind of lackadaisical when they first get that first one, because you tell them, oh, this is a super easy animal to take care of. You got to change the water like
and they don't
once
know
a
what
week and feed it. That's horrible. Don't change the water once a week, people. Like, fresh water is important, but like you got to feed it once a week and you got to clean it once a week, and it's super simple. And I think that's something that we as an industry need to kind of step away from. But when I'm vetting, I'm like,
not saying that it's super easy.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, exactly. Like, take care in your animals. Like, whether it's a normal or it's a $10,000 snake, it should receive the same freaking care.
And I think if you're basing your sale off telling the customer that, hey, it's super easy, you can go to vacations, leave water there, and then you come back a week and they're fine. You're not doing the snake justice by doing that, because it's almost like you're creating a lazy keeper because of telling them that, hey,
and you're setting them up for failure.
Exactly.
So like a lot of people, when I first talk to them, like, hey, what do you do for a living? What do you want with the snake? First of all, like, do you want it just for a pet? Do you want it for breeding? Has breeding ever even crossed your mind? Which I've probably planted a seed with some people that I shouldn't have, you know what I mean? But it's just one of those things you got to work on. And so like I kind of vet people through that process and what they want, and be like, okay, well, I recommend these for starter snakes. Like, I'm not going to tell you what animal to get, obviously. Like, take whichever one you want,
right?
But like a little bit lower end, like the $200 range.
Yeah, I was doing the same. The same. That way they can learn off of that, and if they enjoy the snake, if they maybe, like you were saying, maybe you plant that seed and they want to breed down the line. Because with speaking of that guy that I sold,
I see the fire in your eyes right now. You're like, I got him.
You get them, because those are potential future customers as well, man. And plus, we want to grow this industry. The more people that are proper keepers, the better, you know. So.
And that's the big thing, like proper keepers. Like get that back to where it used to be. Like I remember when I first came in, man. Like if someone wasn't doing something right, you were called out right away.
Yeah,
like right away. And
those Facebook groups back then, they were toxic, man.
It still is.
Oh, do they still? I stay away from those. I don't like going on those.
It's not as toxic as my beardy. But I mean, they're not toxic. I got hit by him today, bro.
Yeah,
like he almost took the tip of my finger off.
Dude, I didn't know they bit, man. I thought
I was feeding him by hand, and he missed the worm and got my finger instead and bit down.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it was totally my fault. I was laughing about it. I was looking at my wife like,
that happened to me once with the snake, man. Once with the first one I ever got back in Daytona, because guess what? I had a frozen thawed by the tail. And I was just like, let me just go real quick, right?
Don't think about it, yeah.
Guess what happened? Wrapped around my whole finger. I was like, I'm about to lose my finger, bleeding all over the place. But I ended up going to the sink. I stayed calm, went to the sink, just put a little bit of water over his head and I let go. And I looked like 2 little puncture wounds. I'm good to go. But because I didn't pull back, I didn't pull back on it. I just let it. I
didn't. I grabbed his tail up so he'd quit like shaking back and forth. And he was like, oh, what's going on? And I put him down, and you realize, that's not food. Let go, and I just started bleeding. Yeah, I was bleeding everywhere, bro.
You got that Band-Aid?
Like he ripped underneath my fingernail and everything. He got me
Jesus, man.
But it's just and it's it's rushing, and it's like being lackadaisical and like not giving it proper attention. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking about it. It's just like, oh, it's a big hornworm. Well, I held the hornworm and it decided to spin around my fingers versus just stay straight. So I
Exactly.
could grab it, and my finger got instead. It happens. I think it's funny. Like I think it's funny. So
Let's see some of these comments. Mike, hey Mike, what's up? You watching right now? Who else? State 48 Exotics. Is that a question for me?
That's for you, bro. That ain't for
So let's see. A goal. What's a goal snake you want to produce in 5 years? I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna say 5 years 5 years can be a long time. I would say a triple visual. Triple visual within 5 years is reasonable, right? I would say triple visual.
Well, I mean, if you could get the girl up to size,
Right.
and she wants to breed with her brother, yeah.
Hey
I
man.
mean, it happens. It happens. I'm not knocking it. That's what I'm hoping for too. Like I'm just now got into the puzzle, and I'm putting hypo puzzle, and I'm putting hypo puzzle into triples, which I'm not going to say what the other ones are,
But see, you're doing those stepping
doing it
stones,
now.
man. So
yeah, but yeah, 5 years. That's definitely
yeah, because
doable.
5 years. I mean, if they go the first season, they're up to size. It's doable.
You got a good thing going on, man. I think your head's in the right place. I think your passion for it, something that you could see, whether it's over this or like just talking to you when you
Right.
talk. What's one of the things that you would want to do before you go full time? Like, what do you think is that step to really make a difference? Well, you said that. I'm going to let the dogs out. Let's go.
So I would say probably distinguish myself from a couple of others. So not do always the same thing everyone has, you know. So that way they can be like, okay, I can go to this guy for this morphs. I trust what he's working with. He's not gonna screw me on a hat or something that he's not selling. So he went to go let the dogs out real quick. Let's see what else is on here. What's up, Craft Brew Morphology? Let's see. Will's got Hypo Rainbow Puzzle in 5 years. Man, that's a good project right there. I'm slacking on the puzzle. I really want to get into some puzzle.
Puzzle's where it's at, bro.
Yeah.
I love puzzle.
It is what I try to do as well, because of my size in it, is I try not to be everywhere, because
It's
I know that, like, especially when you're working with recessives,
hard.
that's why I only work with like a handful of recessives instead of everything. Because you have those breeders that they have it in their mind. I want to do every recessive. I want to do everything, all the big dominants, co-doms. It's like,
Well, that's my thought
Man, you
process
gotta-
too. Is like not necessarily to do it all, but you get it into the het form.
right.
Even if it takes longer, man. Like you throw a female het to a male after a couple of years, and you hit a couple of them. Okay, you have your stock in that, so you can move out everything you don't need, and then just use that to add into other.
And that's a good way to
projects.
think of it. And then when you start hitting like 5 gene animals, like, okay, maybe I have this 2 gene or single gene, I can move those on. That way you grow, but you kind of put your numbers down
100%.
and you're putting out more powerful stuff. So yeah, something like that is definitely my goal, to kind of keep under like the 150 range in long term. You know, I don't want to be at like 200, 300, 400. Is that what you're looking at?
I think I'm going to cap it at like 200 breeders.
200 breeders?
Yeah, 200
Yeah.
breeders.
It's a lot of baby snakes coming
But
up.
so my thought about that is like, okay, so that gives them every other year, right? So once they're breeders,
Yeah, you do it the right
they
way.
get
That's
alternated every other year. So you're only breeding a group of 100 every year, but it gives you the opportunity
to work
to work it, and then as their babies grow up, they get bred one more time, just in case you didn't hit what you needed to out of that pairing the first time. You have an opportunity to go back. After that, the baby should be the size, filling those slots, and then because that's something I can do by myself. Now, if all 3 kids get involved, bro, sky's the limit. I'll work.
I mean, you take it to a family
I'm
business.
gonna take that child labor.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
that's different. Yeah, and I'm speaking on by myself. Like, let's say down the line, maybe you work out a partner, or whatever the case is, then you can maybe double those numbers, right? Because you have help. But I'm saying of what I can manage myself.
Well, and it's all in the space you have too. Like
Space
you
as
have made a
well.
lot out of the space. That
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have.
It's
Like, you've worked that room really well,
yeah,
bro.
it's fucking. Oh, I let one go.
You're
It's
good,
full,
you're
man.
good, bro.
It's full. It's full right now.
Yeah,
I'm almost
I do the
capped.
same thing.
I'm almost capped right now.
I talked to the wife and I was like, we got to figure out how to rearrange this because I need room for baby racks so that I can push close to 200 babies next year. And I was like, I can't do that with what I got.
You know, the thing is, well, my kids don't live with me anymore, and I got a second room, so I can expand once I fill this one. I can expand to that
You
one.
guys are sleeping in sleeping bags in the living room.
They have their own room. It's just my house is 4 bedrooms. So upstairs where I have the snakes is I have them in one room, but I then have a second playroom that they're not really utilizing anymore. So that's gonna be my room that I'm gonna expand to. But actually, the long term thing is I would like to get like something in the backyard, kind of move somewhere bigger, and then have like a little building in the back, kind of have a space for the rats and a space for the snakes. So that's probably my 3-year goal. Is just to keep expanding and growing.
That's what we're going to, man. I don't blame you at all. So like my whole thing, my wife wants to move closer to family, obviously. So
are you still gonna be doing that, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be this, like we're pushing for this year, next year, but
well, the housing market's going down
yeah,
a little bit, so you might be able to find something.
I'm hoping, man. But I told the realtors like I need an outbuilding that has at least 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, see, thinking.
So like the size of my house right now, I need that in an outbuilding. And then I need a house with 4 bedrooms so all the kids can have their separate bedroom as they're growing up.
And that way you go in with
acreage,
all the space you need.
Yeah, you have acreage, you do whatever you want. I want it on ranch land instead of like residential, so that I can do literally whatever I want on my land and you can't say anything. But it's all things you got to consider when you want to take it to that level. But one of the things I wanted to do too is like, so I want my breeding, which I think you have that too because you have the boa, right? So like the boa is not a breeder. That's not in your mind. That's a pet, and that's something you want to showcase.
Exactly.
It's like I have the retic and I have the white lip. Well, I'm not gonna lie, the white lip's gonna become a breeder, bro. Like I'm already getting them girlfriends, but
I mean, this boa is like pushing 7 feet almost. Like it'd be nice, and she's a sunglow, so it'd be cool to just to work a project on the side. Nothing that you really expect anything to come from, but just for fun, just to see what happens.
And it gives you, like I said, it gives you that showpiece. So like when people come over, you're like, okay, well, you don't have to go into the snake room, but this could be out here where it's like, it's decorative and it's something to spark up the conversation.
Like, and everything.
Oh, are you into it? Come on upstairs. You know?
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's good. I see, like even looking here, like you got your little Beardy in the back. You got what is the one next to Chameleon?
I got Beardy. I got Lychee, and then I have some.
So you have your little projects on the side that, or even just pet animals, you know, that you just have that you're not really considering breeding.
Yeah. I mean, the Cresties get to breed, but I think we're gonna pull them apart, man.
How about the Beardy? He's by himself.
I thought about it, but I don't want to deal with it.
I saw one. I mean, I'm not familiar with the genetics.
Beardy breeders are crazy, man. Like he's normal. Like there's nothing super special about.
I saw one today on Instagram, completely black, man. I was like, holy crap!
The black and reds, bro.
Looked amazing. It looked amazing. Those expensive? Yeah.
That's the issue too. Is like now that I know that I can take care of it, because we've had him for 5 years, man.
Okay.
6 years maybe. Like one of my wife's old bosses got out of the military and was moving, and he's like, we can't take it with us.
How long do Beardies generally live for? You know,
I couldn't,
because I know
I'm not gonna lie, I'm just taking care of it.
I know with the iguanas it was like 15-ish years, so I'm say something similar.
I don't know. I'm a bad keeper in that sense, but it's not my focus,
right?
You know, that Lychee might become a breeding thing for me just because I really like them. But even with that, she's just a baby, man, so it's going to take a long time. But and I've wanted one for years. Like I keep telling my wife, I want one.
Leeches are the ones that kind of get bigger.
Giant,
the
giant green ones.
Those are amazing, man. I like those.
And then she like when she fires up, bro, there's like pink and stuff going.
Do you have a male and a female?
No, just
okay.
Letting her grow up, and like I'll probably get a male in like a couple of months.
Okay.
Grow him up in a separate because they're super territorial and they get aggressive. And they sound like little raptors at night. Like I had a little tube in there, and she'd hide in there, and she'd do her little raptor growl through it, and it'd echo through the entire freaking house. So and we're like, "What the hell is that?"
Are they kind of aggressive? Like I heard tokay geckos are pretty like
not like that. They're just like super territorial to other things.
Okay.
Like so, if she smelled other animals in her domain, she gets territorial and she stops eating and she's wandering around trying to figure out what's in her territory and stuff like that.
Okay.
As far as aggression towards us, there isn't any. She just like kind of barks at us. It's funny, bro. Which I mean, I say it's funny, but I mean she's kind of stressed out. So we try not to handle her or anything unless we have to.
But she's still adjusting as well, right? You just picked her up.
But yeah, man. Let's kind of go over your stuff because I know there's some things you got to do after this, so I don't want to keep you too long. We're already kind of hitting that hour point.
Already, man. I didn't even realize it. It just goes quick.
But so you said you want to hit that 50K,
right?
As a new breeder, like if there was something you wanted to instill in a new breeder or just a new person picking up, what would you want to instill into somebody coming into the industry?
So I would say definitely don't try to be all over the place. Have your focus and try to have that focus be what you're passionate about. Kind of like going back to what I did. I love clown and love pied. So right off the bat, that's what I try to push my focus towards. And I would say that kind of helped me because there were times where, you're going through a lot in life and you realize, dang, should I sell a little bit more so that way I can push my numbers down? But I thought, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to bust it out. I'm going to keep going. And now I'm looking at almost 7 years later, and I'm still going strong.
You see that all the time. That's the sad thing.
How many people have you seen, big guys that went in? And this is another thing I push is don't go too heavy in the beginning investing and the only thing I say is because you don't know if you're truly going to enjoy it. You don't know what it is like to wake up.
Life's going to throw at you.
You don't know what life's going to throw at you. You don't know what it's going to be when you have to feed a bunch of babies, when you have to feed 50 plus hatchlings, and then you're feeding everything. You're dealing with rats. You're dealing with your family. You're dealing with your job. It's just like, and then on top of that, you've already dropped 50K. Like let's say you got a big person that's dropping all that in, and then they've never truly bred yet. They don't know what it is yet. So that's what I would see. I would say slow it down a little bit. Invest. I'm not saying don't invest in good stuff, but see if you enjoy it first. Give yourself 2-3 breeder females, hatch out some clutches. If you like it, okay, let me double. That's the thing. What I did is
grow into the.
I doubled every year of what I was pushing out, but just because I did it slowly, and I'm like, okay, I can do it. I'm growing stuff out. I bought a few more breeders, then I kept going and going and going. And then I knew what my limit was personally.
And I think that's important, man. Like, I think a lot of people look at the big names like Justin and Billy and Miguel and all these guys.
And they think it's just
easy running hundreds and hundreds of breeders. And they think it's simple. Like, if
it's
anyone
not.
can do
That's
it.
a low percentage.
You don't realize how little these people sleep. You don't realize, well, I'll say this. Like, Justin treats it as a 9 to 5. But he wasn't able to when he first started. You know what I mean?
But he's got his employees.
He has his
now
staff
as well.
now.
Yeah, so
exactly. But when he first started, he's like everyone else. And the way some of these guys do it, I don't know how they sleep at all.
I don't either, man. But hey, more power to them, man. Right?
If you can do it, hey, do it. Do it as hard as you can. But just be smart about it, which I appreciate, man. I think that's something that a lot of people do since we've come into it. Even some of the people in the chat, I know we've seen a lot of people come, they drop 30, 50, 100K.
I've seen that too many times, man.
2 years, 3 years later,
you don't even know.
Barely starting to pop clutches out, and they're making some badass shit. But they get frustrated
Yeah.
because they're not getting that instant return within 3 years, and they're just like, oh, here's my 100K that I invested.
Right. And
I just want my return and I'm out. Like
it's
you spent 2 years investing in something and it didn't even profit, bro. Like you made the ultimate sin in investing.
They're not thinking, man. They think snakes, well, breeding in general for animals is not a fast turnaround, especially something like this. They breed once a year. Don't come into this expecting to become a millionaire, because it's not going to happen. It truly has to be something you're passionate about. I've always liked reptiles, so this is something I love. It's something I do. I go into the snake room and it's like therapy for me. I don't see like a dollar sign behind everything. That's just like an added bonus to me. So
Did you use it as your transition? Like that's what I did. Like when I was going through my hard times, man, you said therapy, but it was like anytime, like when I was getting mad at the family or whatever was going on in my life.
Yeah, I would just go in there and I would open drawers and I would look at stuff and I'm like, okay, I would weigh and be like, okay, this one's this many grams. Cool. And like maybe I'll be able to breed it next year. Like, oh, what can I make with this? After the end of every season, I always sit down, just look at a regular notepad, and I write down my projects of what I have for the next season and what I can work out and what I can imagine myself doing. Even that is like soothing, like therapy. Like, oh, cool. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna make in the future. Cool stuff like that.
What would you say in your time has been your favorite memory in reptiles so far?
In general, and just snakes or no, anything?
In general, like your favorite thing to do with, or like your favorite memory with reptiles in general. What's it been?
Probably my first. I remember just reptiles in general. I remember going out talking about like the family thing, right? So I remember going up to my dad and with a little book, because this was, I mean, no internet. There was internet, but it wasn't too big back then. So I went up with a little iguana book to my dad. Yeah, that's what it was. I went up with this little book to my dad, and I'm like, hey, look, like there's a 6 foot. It was like a 6x5, like a huge cage, like beautiful cage. And I told my dad, like, this is what the iguana needs. It's in this book. Like, this will be something it can live in for the rest of its life. So me and him just went out in the back and built this thing. And this is like a memory I will take forever. And now people listening, don't do this now. But back then, like I was a little kid.
You could get away with that stuff back then.
You know what I did with it? It was like its own ecosystem, because I had 2 turtles in there. I had an iguana that would go up on the top. And they all got together just fine. And it's something no one ever says nowadays to do. This is like, dude, this is the 90s. It was
like a zoo habitat.
Yeah, this is the 90s. Like, I didn't know better. Like, I put them in there and they did fine. So I thought they were fine. Like, obviously, that's not something you do now, but back then. And it's just so cool to see that. And I had them for years like that. And they all did perfectly fine. That's like a memory that I really have. And that's awesome. Probably something that.
Your eyes just lit up.
It's awesome. Cool, man. Just think. And until you mentioned it, hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought about that like that.
So I don't want to keep you from all your other stuff. I have some of his links down below, but if we want to get a hold of you personally, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I would say Instagram. You know, I have the Instagram, the Facebook, Morph Market, Santana Serpents. You can find me all on there, and then
I think everything but your. I didn't know if you wanted like your personal Facebook on there, so I put your Instagram down below.
Okay.
I put your Morph Market down below so they can see your ads.
Okay. Even personal Facebook, anything's fine. To be honest, I talk snakes with anybody, reptiles.
Okay. Then what's the one thing that you would want to leave the people watching today with?
I would say kind of what we were talking about with like any upcoming breeders, take it slow and see if it's something you really enjoy, because the last thing you want to do is let the animals suffer and just buy a bunch of animals to just end up getting rid of them. Because like you always have those breeders that you're like, oh, I wonder what this guy's doing. You search them up on Instagram and they're not even there anymore. So it's like at the end, you have to be passionate about this stuff, because at the end of the day, they're animals. They're living things. Don't just think of it like a dollar sign, man. That's not what you should do about this.
And I know I talk about it a lot because I like both sides of it, and it's a hard thing for me.
Yeah,
because I look at it, the investing side, and like I went through like business management and stuff like that.
Right. And
so when you see me talk about that stuff, it's not that I'm thinking about animals that way. I don't want it to ever sound that way. It might come off that way sometimes, but that's not the intention, you know. Like like I said, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't need anything else in my life. Like, could I live better? Yeah, but I don't need anything else. My bills are paid. That's all I need.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. So it keeps
yeah,
it strictly
it's,
like,
it's
hey,
something that interests me. Like I read a lot of like self-improvement books, and I read a lot of millionaire like mindset books, if that makes sense, just to like see how
to change your mindset.
how different people think, and it helps you kind of understand the human persona in general, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, or at least that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
But guys, I hope you enjoyed old Pedro here.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on.
A lot of stuff we could have talked more in depth with, stuff that we can touch potentially in another time. Eventually go over to his house / facility and
show some stuff, right?
Yeah,
all day, man, all day.
All right. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you go give my boy some love. Like I said, we've known each other for around 7 years now. Just trying to keep some love in El Paso. So check them out. Next week, we have a Cali local that has kind of been a supporter since the start of everything that I've done. My first Pomona reptile show, I put out a challenge, and we were talking about this the other day. I put out a challenge. It was like, hey, if you see me, I'm carrying X amount of shirts, so come see me and say something, right? And he was the only one there that did it, bro. Like, I know there's a bunch of people at that show that saw it because they commented on that video, but they never said anything to me. He's the only one that did it, so I emptied my backpack on him. And
hey, that's what it is. That's what it is.
So we're gonna have WOULDNT Serpents, freaking Adam Webb next week. I'm pretty stoked about that and all the stuff that he's doing. So, like I said again, I'm gonna get this man out of here. Give him some love. Check out next week with Adam, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.
Take care, guys.